Welcome back, everybody, to Unconditional Surrender, the me, myself, and I playthrough of the main event scenario. Game is published by GMT Games, designed by Salvatore Vasta. We are getting ready to go into the November 1943 turn. Didn't quite have the success I was hoping for in the East when I had fair weather in October, but sometimes the dice just don't go your way. So we need to roll for weather per the new optional rules that I'm testing for Sal. We can't have the same thing in November than we had in October. I am really getting to like these weather rules. I think they give you a little bit of predictability in what's going to happen to you. So it limits the number of clear weather turns in a year to about 5, I think. 4 for sure, and possibly 6. So depending on your weather zone, like in the mild or the warm, you can end up with 6. So I think it kind of plays properly, gives the proper ebb and flow of the game. So just to go on here, start my timer. Let's start rolling. The cold zone can't have fair weather again. I rolled a 4. It's not fair. It's poor. Okay, that's good. The mild zone is also a 4, which is poor. Okay. And then in the warm zone, we cannot have poor. And we rolled a 1, so it's fair. Yikes. It's fair in northern Italy. Not good for the Germans. They're kind of short people there. Okay, when we go to strategic warfare, the Germans are only +1 because they lost Brest to, and the Russians are +2. They only have an air unit up in Norway. We do have things we could play. The Russians want to save that partisans to possibly bust through something. The Germans have 1 submarines, and they're at a 1, so if they lose 1 to the Russian, they probably can get it back from the British. The British do have a partisans that they could play. They may want to keep that for the same reason as the Russians keep theirs. So it kind of depends on what the die roll is here. So the Germans are all a 5 plus 1 is a 6. And the Russians are all a 3 plus 2 is a 5, a 6 to a 5. Quick look at the thing. 6 to a 5 is a diamond. I always try to pop that up to let people double check the combat results. So that does nothing. Diamond, we both go down 1, but we're both at the 1 mark, so we can't go down. So it takes us over to the west, where it's actually the same thing because the British in September of 1943 took Brest. I am containing them fairly well, but they did take Brest, so it's kind of annoying here. Nobody declared war. Oh, I forgot to do the economy. I went right on into strategic warfare. Here's a quick look at the economy. Germany was going to give 1 to Romania because they feel like they have to move both. British are 32, Russians are 38, Germany's at 36, but gives away a 1, so I start at 35. Okay, back to strategic warfare. Sorry about that. So we're in the west phase. It's still a +1 to a +2. The Germans are going to hang on. They have another submarine's coming in December. I don't need that. And the British do have a partisans, but they kind of want to save that for France. You don't want it coming back in 6 turns when, since it's poor weather, they might actually have a chance to do some damage here because they could actually invade with their surprise attack marker. So, yeah, we're not going to go to combat commitment. Nobody commits. So, why do I have the turn track up? So we just roll dice and add our numbers. The Germans roll 3 plus 1 gives them a 4. And the British roll a 3 plus 2 is a 5. And a 4 to a 5 is a diamond as well. So nothing happened in the strategic warfare front. Strategic movement, the Axis is going to do something a little different than what I've done in my other games. Normally I try to keep all 4 airplanes against the Russians, but I'm having trouble getting them back up because of the amount of points I have to spend every turn. So I'm going to do, I'm going to try and shore up the West. The last game I played, the West just blew right through me in France and was like, by October, they were almost at the Elbe, I think it was. They conquered me in October of 44, because they just ran over all my factories. I had nothing to build with. The Russians were, you know, entering Germany like normal at the end of the summer of 44, but the West had just like blown by the Rhine and was sitting on the Elbe. It was a horrible experience. This is a little trick for those of you that want to know. If you take a stack like this and then you just jump to where you want to go. This is going through Leningrad, Finland, Sweden, through Norway, all on rail lines. And then it goes and lands at Bergen. And that will still give me my +1 in next turn's strategic warfare phase. I did not see one for the West. I did not see one. I mean, there's one I could do in the West. I don't know how good it would be. I technically could rail the first armored U.S. to adjacent to Cherbourg. But by the same token, if I just leave it here, I could actually use my surprise attack marker and like land at Cherbourg and then advance a hex. So that would definitely give me a port. And then, I'd be in one line and I just end up on the same line. The Germans are probably going to do something anyway, so if I put him out there, I'm afraid that the German panzers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, he could actually have 2 panzers attack me. So that would be like +4 to my +2, +2 for +1 for an airplane. Do I even have an American airplane up here? I don't even have an American airplane up here. So that's probably not a good idea. So yeah, this is could do it, not gonna. I just don't see the reason to risk things like that. When I have 4 or 5 American armies, I might do something silly like that. But when I only have 2, I want to use them wisely. So nothing for the West, and definitely the Soviets are all basically up at the line, so we don't need to do anything there. Going to Germany's operations phase. Let's do the East first. I'm going to basically be reforming a line. I'm going to give up on the 10th. It's going to die no matter what I do. It's isolated and everything else. So I do this. Let's get up my national tracks here. I take points off as I go. So that's 2 for this armor. He's going to go into Smolensk. This guy goes here. So that's another one. This guy goes here. That's another one. And this guy, the 15th, goes down here. That's another one. Oh, hello, that's another one. This armored unit moves here. So that's 2 more. So now 28. This armored unit moves here. Do you think I pre-planned what I was going to do with the Germans? This garrison goes into there. And then the Romanians go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They can go into Kishinev. And then this Romanian, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they can kind of go here to kind of sort of be a backdrop in case something terrible happens that I'm not seeing in, many mobilized units would at least have to stop to assault him and stop their run like all the way to Bessarabia. So I think I should have spent 10. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this guy, which I didn't activate, 10. Spent 10 there, and then I'm going to spend 4 to move up the reserve. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which way do I think I'm going to need him more? I'll go 8 to the north, I guess. So that's 2. And then I'm going to spend 2 more. What did I just do? There we go. Spend 2 more for these guys. This guy can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Adjacent to Riga. And then the next guy, the guy in Königsberg, he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Get into that little hump in the Duna there. Trying to get prepared for the breakout for the Russians. I'm going to have to get some more. I'll be able to get some Hungarians down here to sit in cities so that they at least have to stop and attack them. But that'll be later. And so that was 14 total. I started at 35, so I'm at 21. So I'm at the right place. We're going to go do the west. It's poor over here, right? Double checking. Yeah, it's poor in the west, so I can actually try to push these Canadians back, I think. So I do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to here, down the rail. 6, 7, and then 8. And that's to prevent him from just being able to invade Bordeaux and then move across the river. Now he at least has to attack me. It's not a very good defense because he's only a garrison, but die rolls can help you, and then that would contain the Bordeaux breakout and give me a chance to answer it. So that's another 1. That puts me down to 20. Hello? And then this guy, hello, goes 1, 2, 3, and will assault the Canadian. Oh boy, I'm in a real world of hurt here, aren't I? Germans. 1, 2. Probably need to go there. 3. I worry about an invasion south of Le Havre if I went into 30-10, and then he would give me, I'd have to retreat into Le Havre, and then he'd be able to attack me next turn while I was isolated, and I don't want to lose a will point guy there. So that's another 3, right? 2 for the armor and 1 for this, down to 17. So it's 14 in the east, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yep. And unfortunately, I have a lot of stuff that I still need to move. So I got to spend at least 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Started at 35. Spent 14, 10, 21. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 here, down to 17. You spend 2 for the armor and 1 for the infantry. This infantry goes 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to there, and then this armor goes and fills in at Le Havre. And that leaves me at 14. All I can do is try to do something down here. It's clear weather, and I'm in poor weather up here. So now I have to decide whether I move the airplane into France, and I can move this one down to defend Germany, but then I leave him wide open in the south. Or I don't. What am I here? I am 2 from a German, 1 for an armor. That's 3. Plus 1 is 4. That's 4. The British +1 because they're armor. That's +2. They can add an airplane +3. It'd be a +4 to a +3. If I put in the airplane, it'd be a +5 to a +3. But I think I need to have the airplane keep him from crossing the Po, because all his airplanes are going to be at full strength. Right? Well, the Americans will have to take a sortie to move up. Eek! I don't know where to go. Part of me says I should be defending in France. Part of me says I need to defend in northern Italy, and I can't defend both. And try and cut down the bombing runs. So I guess I'm gonna move to here. Guy in Norway. These don't cost production points to move. He can move to here. That's 10 movement points. Takes a sortie, so he's in a good place to defend my factories. And yeah, boy howdy. I wish I had one more. Probably shouldn't have moved this infantry down here, but I really don't want to. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, you can't get there. So I guess that's all I have. I gotta do something in the med. Well, I can throw in an airplane, and if I throw in my tanks down here, if I can stuff the British in their first attack, either across the Po or into 28, 26, 30, 23. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go there. Got a point to do that. And the idea here, for the Americans and stuff to come across this ridge, it's -2 for them. So it's either going to be an assault or a very poor attack, or we should have roughly even odds. The British can probably get it up to like +5, but I can possibly get it up to +6 to defend either one of these hexes, or even this hex if he goes there. And in so doing, I have a chance of getting him stuffed. I get an AS result, and then that whole unit is just basically done, and that leaves poorer attacks. So hopefully that defends the Po for another turn. Give me a chance to evacuate Genoa and Marseille to get them back to more defensible terrain, and then these guys will retreat back into the Alps. That's the plan. Will it work? Probably not. But hey, that's the plan. So just so you know where I thought. And the Germans will go ahead and take this shot over here. I forgot to take one off for the weather. So I'm +2 because I'm German, +1 for armor. He's the primary. +1 for a buddy, -1 for the weather. The British start off at +1 because they're British, +1 because they're armored. And they can throw in an airplane. They'll throw in the one from the back here. Simply because there's no German airplanes to interfere. So they become a +3. So it's a +3 to a +3. Germans are looking for a retreat to try and help themselves out. Germans are all 2 + 3 is a 5. Not a good chance. And as a matter of fact, they can't because the British can only roll a 4. And that's exactly what they roll. 5 to a 4 doesn't do anything, so this didn't work. That leaves the British and Americans' thoughts of what to do. Do they land at Cherbourg and move forward? Trying to break open the French line, German line in France? We'll see what they decide to do. So that's German operations. Everything is in supply except for the one dude that I had to leave behind. I could spend a point and try to attack like into Bryansk, but it'd be the German is +2, -1 for the river, -1 for the city, -1 for the weather. The Russians could, if they really wanted to, throw in a tanks marker. Oh, that's what I forgot to do with the Germans. The Germans are going to do in these airplanes. The math works out because it's poor weather, and everybody's an extra -2, so the Germans would be -4 for sorties, -2 for the weather, so that's a -6, +2 for German is a plus. It makes them a -4. Best they can get's a 2, even if they roll a 6. The Russians would be at like -6, so the best they can ever get's a 1. 2s to 1s are always diamonds, so it's just a straight exchange. You don't actually have to roll dice at that point. The math just works out that way. I could spend the point here to try and get through here because he doesn't have airplanes that can reach me. I would be at least a -1 going into here to his 0. And if he throws in a tanks, it would be a -1 to a +1. Odds are it's not going to work anyway, and then the production point can't be used for recovering a step loss on somebody, like that infantry unit I have sitting right here in Calais, or maybe even building like this militia, depending on what happens with the rest of the combats. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to end up. So I think I'm going to keep that point to be able to do that kind of stuff. So we're just going to have this guy become low supply. Hope the Russians roll nothing but ones. If they roll nothing but ones when they're assaulting this, then it'll survive and I'll be able to remove it. But it's not likely with him being isolated. They're going to be like +5 and stuff. And it takes a lot of really extreme die rolls on both sides for that to work. So it's probably not going to work. But it also solidifies my line. I have my reserves moving up to fill in. Yeah, I think I'm done. Reset, move. And that's a pretty good beginning of turn and axis phase. So we'll end it here. That was the beginning of turn phases and axis operations of November 1943. Unconditional Surrender, me, myself, and I playthrough of the main event scenario. I'm Dren608. If you like my videos, please subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And we will return with the Western operations phase in the next part of this episode. This is episode 47, I believe. And it will be in 3 parts. Just because there's so many things to do with the Allied countries now. So we'll see you in a little bit. Bye-bye.